Hello, welcome to another episode of Xa Talk Show. Today we are going to code PowerShell. So I'm gonna code PowerShell. The problem is to list all directories. Let's start PowerShell. So here's a PowerShell. To list all files in a directory whose name contains space. Okay, so space character, a bunch of files. If the file name contains space, listed. And so we are going to write a PowerShell script to do that, and also to change the file name. So if it contains a space, rename it to the underscore, to the lowline character. Okay, so that's what we are going to code today, PowerShell. So if you are interested in learning PowerShell, watch it. Okay, and here is my keyboard. Today I'm using the Expose keyboard, a fantastic keyboard. Okay, so you can look at my Expose, you can look at my website. So you just search for Xali keyboard, you'll find my review. And Expose is Expose Night. This is a great keyboard, and so are the others. I did a review on Glove 80. That's wonderful. I'm going to the Glove 80 is gonna be my main when I receive the lighter switches. Okay, so let's start to code. So what is this page? Close keyboard, close. So let's start to code PowerShell. Okay, so so I'm in Emacs, start a PowerShell code and pop it out. And I'm in Emacs, I'm using Softlight keys, and I'm using a Vorak keyboard layout. Okay, and the pink window shows all my command calls and keystrokes on the pink window. Okay, so let's begin. If you have comments and questions, ask me. Okay, so PowerShell, let's go to my PowerShell tutorial. So I have a tutorial here already. Let's put the link here, PowerShell tutorial. And so we did a live stream writing a similar command before, so that would be here. So let's look at how that is done. So you have set doc theme. That's a code to set doc theme. So here is a code to format the code, prettify PowerShell code. And here is a script to convert Linux and Windows line ending. Okay, so we have quite a few script, and here is a script that rename file to hash. Rename the file to the hash of the file content. So in this way, every file, if their content is different, they will have a unique name, like this 64 characters also. Especially useful for image files when you want to determine if image files are two image files are different. So that this code is very similar to what we are going to do today. So let's put it there. Okay, so we are going to rename. So let's just copy this code here, and let's just modify it. Okay, copy it. So go back to our PowerShell, paste it. So here is so first of all, the name of the function will be list file space. What should be the name of the function? List file name contains space. Okay, that's a bit verbose, but let's do it that way. So here, this is how you define a function in PowerShell. And then we need to, so here is the convention for the documentation, the inline doc string. Okay, so let's say list files of current whose name, list files whose name contains space. Okay, so that is the of current. Okay, so that is the documentation. So version number, let's put today's date, and sample use. How shall we, so the first stage of writing this function is the design of the API, of the interface. So for example, in PowerShell, let's go to web directory xali info. Okay, let's go to comp. Okay, let's go to comp and let's list directories. So there's a lot of files. Let's do it again. So lots of files. Okay, the font is too large, so that's better. Okay, so this is how you list the file. So now you want to let's think about how we want to design the function. So one way is typically, so you call a command that will just list all files of the current and subdirectories whose file name contains a space. Okay, so the recurse file filter, and no, so that's not how you want to use it. So example, let's just say example just being that. So you just call this function and it'll output a collection of file objects where the file names contain space. The PowerShell is different from Bash in the sense that PowerShell, the data PowerShell deal with is always objects, as in object-oriented programming. So they are actually .NET, Microsoft.NET objects. Whereas in Bash or Unix shell, you just output text. It's all text processing. But in PowerShell, they actually output objects, which has methods and so on, just like OOP, the .NET object. So, okay, let's just begin to write this way. Okay, so here is a link. We don't. Okay, so actually, PowerShell file contains space. So I'm going to create this web page later, so you can grab the code there. Okay, so now to write a function in PowerShell, there are what you have to do is actually we can delete all that. Let me just show you. Okay, so you just say the is an alias to get child item, and you say recurse. Do you want recurse or not? Let's say recurse. Okay, that means list all, go through all subdirectories as well. And then you want to say, now do you want to limit to directories only or just files or both? So if you just only want files, you say -file. So this should so here's a design issue. Should it work on directories or just files? I mean, without directories. I think it should also work on directories. Okay, so maybe later on we can add option. So let's just say files for now. Okay, so recurse files, and that's it. So actually this is the function. So we can do it this way. We can just copy the code, paste it here, paste anyway, yes, okay, and now it's evaluated. So now you just copy the file name and do it. You see, it lists all files. Right now there's no criteria, so it simply just lists the files. Hello, 珍宝周or Zhao. So from England, hello, hi. So now so we need to put some kind of criteria where filter, let's see, how do we do this? So there is a filter parameter that allows you to show only file names of a specific wildcard pattern. So if you say wildcard space wildcard, would that work? Don't know, so let's try it. So before we try it, we need to actually create a file name with a space in it. So why don't we do that? So go up one directory and cd to talkshow and create a new directory, create a new file name. Now the way you create a new file name in Unix is just touch something a name, but in PowerShell it's a new item. Okay, new item file, type file, something like that. Actually, let's just say new item. Okay, ni is an alias to new dash item. So let's say xx space xxyy. Okay, so let's say that. Do it. Okay, so we created a new file. Now let's see. There it is. That's the file we just created. So that command is just that. Now we got a file name with a space. Now let's try our let's try this command to see if that works. Get child item recurse file filter. Do it. Fantastic. So simple. So actually you don't actually need a function, you see. So this is actually, that's it. This list files whose name contains a space. Okay, and now it's recursive. Okay, so we essentially get one thing done. That's what we want to do. So we got a command. So let's see. Yeah, that's all it does. That's basically these files whose name contains a space of current. Okay, so yeah, so pop it back, syntax color it, show in browser. So today's talk show page, that's the code. So simple. Now we need to write another command that delete those files. Okay, I guess let's just do it then. So here it will be delete file name. Okay, delete file whose name contains space. Okay. Okay, this would be dangerous to call because so you need some kind of mitigation to prevent accidental call, because you might type xar delete. For example, I have quite a few commands written. Here's a Emacs delete, Emacs backup. So if you and there's delete empty dir, but sometimes you didn't pay attention, and if you call this command, that will delete all file names whose name contains a space. That's disaster. That's going to be a disaster. So you want to maybe query the user. Let's see how we want to do this. Actually, it's so simple. Once you see, once you do this command, all you have to do is you just pipe it to remove. Then that's it, basically. That is it. Yeah, so turns out actually we don't need a command. Yeah, so we don't actually need this command. So go back, delete. Yeah, we don't need it because once you have these, I mean, even this one is not necessary. You can just type that whole thing. But it's usually nice when you need to do something repeatedly. It's nice to define a function, even it's trivial. You know, this is one of the design problem, language design problem. Oh, thank you. Try remove item. What if? What if, you know, yeah, that's right. You know, it's like the Unix dash dry. Sometimes, you know, Unix shell convention, they don't have a consistent naming, so sometimes it's called dry. But in PowerShell, it's dash what if. But that doesn't, you know, that doesn't solve the problem of accidental call. So anyway, I think this is what we're gonna do. So we just, you know, we just have this function, this file name contains space, which is a very simple command. Then once you want, you know, once you decided you want, you know, once you know, see it, then you just type rm. Yeah, cool. Cool. Yeah, so yep, I think that's it for today. That's it for today. For I mean, for the purpose we are going to do, because you know I'm writing this for myself, because I need to do it sometimes. You know, sometimes because file name containing a space usually is problematic. You know, vast majority of file names contains a space if you are not a programmer, you know, your mom or whoever, you know, because it's much easier to, you know, that it's natural to have a file name without space. This underscore is actually kind of programmer's thing, or even dash. You know, most people you don't put you know, you just use a space. So vast majority of files contains a space, and but however, for programming, for website, you know, for any technical work, in general, you don't want a space in file name, because it makes, you know, processing those files a lot more cumbersome, you know. So that is why. So for me, I started to, you know, oftentimes I want to rename files, you know, make the space to be an underscore. And now I have it. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, we got it wrong. We don't want to delete. We just want to rename. That's right. We got this all wrong. So let's do it again. So actually, we want to rename, okay? So rename file space to Lowline, okay? That's what we want to do. Yeah, so this is actually more interesting, okay? Yeah, you want to rename file. So now, that's right, rename file. That's right. So now we want to so what we can do is that you pipe it to a function. You know, you pipe it to a to a code block, and then you can say you want to rename. Okay, so let's how do you rename in PowerShell? I don't remember. Let's look at oh yeah, so we have a code here, rename item. Okay, so let's copy the code here. So this function rename to hash. Now to write a function in PowerShell, it's very easy. But however, there are something you want to know if you want to pipe some other collection of things to your function. So here now I got it. So first of all, we have this function, list file name contains space. Now when we want to rename it, we just pipe it to another function, xar rename file. That way you won't easily accidentally rename all your files. So you can always call this function first, then just up arrow, then just pipe rename. Okay. Or we can add an option here, but let's not do that now. So this is a design. Okay. So that's right. Rename file. So first of all, let's write the documentation. How is it supposed to work? Pipe files to this function to rename it. Okay. Now this is not a proper documentation because the proper way to say is that you. Okay, so so there are several things. Okay, so several things. Let's go back. So one thing is, how do you define a function? We didn't finish talking about that. So that's one thing. The other thing is, what is the proper description when you have a function that takes input from a pipe? Okay, that's two things. First of all, let's cover the function. How do you define a function? How do you write a function such that it takes piped output as input? Okay, so let's look here. Variable, Boolean, conditional, data structure, input, output, function. So there it is, function. So function is very easy to write. You can just with the keyword function, kind of typical. Then allowed characters in function name, semicolon optional if new line. Okay, and named parameters. Okay, we don't care. Any parameter automatically become these option names, so that's fairly convenient. Okay, but the thing is that if you want the function to accept piped output as input, then you have to, so this section, then you have to create this block of code, process. Okay, so here is the thing we want. Okay, so comment that out. So this is how you want this function, process. Okay, process. So that means when this function receives a piped output, a collection of them, it will work on each one of them one by one in order by whatever code you have here. Okay, so the current piped object is represented by $_ so that's a current object. So you want to rename that. Okay, so that's how you write a function that accepts piped output. Okay, now let's go back to rename. Okay, now how do you so go back to PowerShell, help rename. Okay, rename item, help rename item, and let's go to online. So that will show the documentation in the browser. Now turn on JavaScript. Okay, rename item, and so blah 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 blah. Basically rename would be something like old name. new name, something like that. Okay, so the old name will just be just $sign that. That's the input object. The new name, okay, so now let's look at the rename item. The new name will be, let's look at the, again, hang on a second, let's go to talk show. Let's put the links here. PowerShell tutorial, PowerShell function. Okay, and let's look at rename to hash. Let's see how that is done. Okay. Leaf and leaf base. Okay, so when you rename, you have to split the file path into the directory path and the file name part. Then you rename. Let's see, where is the rename? Okay, here. Rename just new name. Let's magnify. So extension, so you have to get the file extension. New name equals to, you create a new name. Then you print it. Print a message, rename something to something. Then you rename it. Okay. So let's copy that code. Okay, rename file to hash. Let's go back here. So let's see. Okay, we also need this section. So if the input object is null, then just print needs argument from pipe. Nothing's done. Okay. Otherwise continue. Do we need to actually split the path? What is this leaf used for? So split the path. Leaf is the file name without the directory path. Then you, okay, this is renamed to hash. Yeah, so you check if it's the file name is already a hash string. Rename file to hash. If it is, do nothing. Otherwise, start to rename. Okay, so here is the rename part. So to rename, we extension name. Okay, to rename, all we have to do is take the, so here is what we want to do. Okay, so let's say old name. Old name equals to, okay, here is another problem. You don't want to, if the parent directories, some parent directories contain a space, you don't want to rename those. You only want to rename the file names itself, not any parent directory. Because if you do that, that's disaster. So you want to, so you have to split the file path. Oh God, getting more complex. Okay, so you need to get the file name part first. Okay, and the $_ is the input object. You need to get the name. So I believe it's that, or it's .name. Name is a method. Okay, so let's try it. Because I'm not sure what it is. So let's try. Okay, let's just try the list all files, then pipe it to, let's try it here, the file, pipe it to underscore $_ dot full name. Okay, so dot full name is the method. Okay, so when you use file option, you need to say recursive. Okay, wait. Oh yeah, so pipe 2 you need to say for each. Yep. So, but if you, is there a method name? Let's try that. There it is. Fantastic. So you can just say dot name. Okay, so let's define old name. Okay, old name is that. Then new name equals to, now you need to find replace. Okay, now so let's see how do we do find replace in PowerShell. Find string, you given a string, you want to find replace space by underscore. So you can see miscellaneous PowerShell in depth. So string, so you want to go to the string section, rejects operations, string methods. Okay, let's see string operators. Join string, split operator, string match by wildcards, and rejects operators. Okay, let's go to, we can use rejects operators for sure, but maybe there's something simpler. Let's go to string methods. Okay, string method example, substring. Oh, so there is a replace method. Okay, now a string in PowerShell is an object, not like bash, it's just a string, but in PowerShell it's an object. So it has methods dot replace. So we can say here, so the new name will equals to that dot replace, replace, and here is a space, replaced by underscore. Fantastic. So delete that, leave, and let's not rename yet. Let's, okay, so file extension, we don't care. Okay, and here we don't care. Okay, so, and here is the old code, we don't care. Prettify the code. Okay, so here is the, now before we rename, comment out, let's just print out echo. Okay, echo there. Make a backup. Okay, I think that's it. So now we copy that back to PowerShell, paste the code, paste anyway. So now it's defined. Now all we have to do is go back. List file name contains space. Do it. What? Wait, the function is now it's incorrect. List file names contain space. What? So far so good. Refresh. Let's try it again. Copy it. Cancel. Define it. Paste. Okay. This file name contains space. Now do it again. Yeah, now it's correct. Okay. Now that so now we pipe these two. Pipe these two. That. Do it. Fantastic. You see, it outputted the new name. So if we uncomment that out, that should work. Okay, but we want to make sure that is the case. Let's check the rename item documentation. So syntax, path, and new name. Yeah, so it takes 2 arguments. The required there. And let's see examples. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So output. Okay, I think that's it. So we just copy this again, go back here, paste it, paste anyway. So we define the function. Now we call this again. Now make sure in the, okay, go back to the talk show page, go to the directory. So you see right now we have one file that contains a space. Now let's make multiple of them. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's say 4. Okay, so this file contains 2 places that has a space, and let's make another one. Let's say 2 space. Okay, so we have this bunch of files that contain space. Now if we do it, that should rename. Now we want to make sure our code is not doing something unexpected, because I don't want to end up renaming all my files. Oh, okay, there it is, incorrect. Okay, so this part should be old name, not that. Wait, but so rename item, can it takes just a path, or yes, it can take a path as opposed to a file object. Okay, let's hope this is good. Now, just to be sure, I want to make a backup of my Microsoft Talk Show directory. So create a zip file just in case we screwed up. Or in fact, we can actually do git commit. Okay, so anyway, there's a zip backup. Now let's do it. Okay, check this space. Okay, do it. Fantastic. Go back to there it is. It works. Fantastic. So refresh. There it is. Fantastic. Fantastic. So we did it. So close syntax color it, show in browser. So that's the command. So that's it. That's what we did today. So good. Anything else? So now we can actually shut down. I mean, that's it for today. Or should we continue on some other topic? I think that's it. Let's keep it one topic per live stream. Okay, so one last check if there's anything we should make it better or anything. I don't think so. Yeah, old name. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. If you like my stuff, pay me. Okay, so you go to my xali.info website and lots of stuff, programming language tutorials. Then there's Patreon or Amazon gift card me or PayPal. Okay, and or you can buy my Emacs tutorial, Emacs Lisp and Emacs, and you can also buy my JavaScript in depth, one of the most complex programming language. Maybe trimming extra space. Yeah, we can do that, but I don't want to because on end and start because I want the command, I think it's better to leave the command do one thing, because if the file they begin with a space, this command just simply change space to Lowline. So when you see, after you call the command, then space becomes visible, then you might find out, oh, maybe I have some file name incorrect, they start with a space or end with some space. After you run the command, it will be apparent. Then you might want to rename, but you may not want to because there might be a reason you begin with a space. Okay, bye guys. So I'm gonna upload the code so you can